See you guys. All the descriptions on the slide. Wait.
Alrighty. So while we wait for everyone to get situated and everyone to take a seat, please get started with installing Unity. It takes a while, so we have the nice, lovely website up there. Just go ahead and install the Unity editor. If you want, you can make a student account. It should be free with your email. And hopefully you guys all have GitHubs. It's okay if you don't, but you might want one. And we'll get started in a little bit. Yeah.
Which version of Unity?
It's the newest version, and then just
latest stable version.
We'll walk you through it when we talk more about Unity. But we're just gonna be using the most recent long-term.
And then if it gives you an option to install with the editor, just say yes to that.
Yeah, get the editor too. Alright, more people. We'll give you like a few more minutes, and then we'll get started. So,
In my setup.
Awesome. Yeah, for those who just joined us, we're downloading the Unity editor and just Unity in general. It's going to be relevant for our first project.
Yeah, it's on the laptop. We could go through
Yeah.
Should I send the link in the Discord?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
I'm putting the link in project announcements on Discord if you guys would want to do it through there. If you don't want to type it out.
No,
No. The project announcements in Discord.
You can also share the Zoom. They wouldn't be able to copy it from Zoom. For all our virtual friends unable to make it in person.
Do you want to send me the link? I can like.
It's in the chat. So, all right, for those who are just joining us, pull out your laptops. We're downloading Unity. The URL is on the screen right now.
So
Oh,
you want me? Yeah. Just open it up. I don't think I need internet right now.
Yeah. Yes.
Did you just open your version?
All right.
And apologies in advance. We are worried about the controversy with Unity. I started making this stuff right before it happened. Oh, shoot.
No.
Okay,
That's fine. All right. I think everyone's kind of situated here. So we're just gonna get started with our meeting.
Wait, is the
We're not gonna.
okay?
Welcome to our first project meeting. We're gonna just be covering how projects are gonna work and a little bit about the first project. Some general housekeeping. You guys are all kind of seated up in the front, but if you look at the back, you'll notice that there are 4 different TVs that you guys can all see. So if you guys are in the back, you can actually just use the TVs right above you. We also have new mics, so hopefully the audio is a lot better this time around. Also, we just ask that you guys don't speak while we are giving our presentations so that everyone can hear. And there's a lot more space in this room, so we are glad to have you all here, and we're going to be here tomorrow as well.
All right, so it's on, I think. Okay, right? Okay, so hello, everyone. I'm Amir, and thank you all for coming to this meeting. And thank you all for giving us feedback from the last meeting. One of the things that we got feedback for is that we seem to have a large audience of beginners, which is completely cool. But a lot of these projects require some foundational skills that beginners starting from ground zero don't really have. So we have launched a toolkit to kind of jumpstart you guys towards that kind of path. It's still in its beta and things will be added to it as things go on. But if you are a beginner, I highly recommend that for this one, you're kind of focused on the Git and GitHub one, as while it may not be used exactly in this meeting, or Git specifically, it will be used later down the line in this project. So without further ado, it's kind of,
I also just put it in the Discord, so if you guys want to look around and play around with it, feel free to do that. We will be adding to it as the year goes on, so feel free to bookmark it and use it as a reference.
all right, so quick recap for anyone who doesn't know or didn't remember. Here are our 3 levels of projects. This is a project meeting. So level 0 is workshops, one-time commitment. Level 1 is what we're doing right now, smaller project, and level 2 is big, bigger, larger scale project. And kind of get more into that with a level 1 project. Level 1 projects are meant to build foundational skills towards those level 2 projects, so that when we do these level 2 projects, we're able to hit it. And so for this first Unity Pong project, we're going to be using reinforcement learning. And can I show this?
Sure.
Can I show
that?
Yeah. Okay. While we get it set up, I'm going to kind of just talk a little bit about this project. Essentially, we're going to have, like, you guys all know what Pong is. It's a game, one of the first games that are made, and we're going to be training an AI to essentially play this game by the end of these 2 weeks. It is a 2-week project, and we'll be using Unity ML agents as the library for the reinforcement learning. So that will require things like, is it going to work? Yeah. Okay, so right now, this project is just all Pong. We have not, but this does not include the reinforcement learning component yet, but you guys will have that in by the end of this project. Now, for week 1 of this project, we want to stop this. Okay, week 1, because these projects are pretty big, one of the key components that we want to build, especially when it comes to level 2 projects, would be Codebase familiarity. So if you got some type of internship, got a job or whatever in CS, one of the most likely what's going to happen is that you're going to be dropped into an environment that where people have already done work on code bases and everything, and just a bunch of code is already there, not written by you, and you don't really know what they put where and everything. So to become familiar with a code base is a really good skill to have, especially when working with teams, and it will help us greatly when it comes to these level 2 projects. Now, okay. And then week 2, we're going to be focusing on all the reinforcement learning aspects of actually training the AI portion of it. Now that we're familiar with this code base, we're able to do all these things with the reinforcement learning agent. And that's the sense that the agent is basically the AI that will play it. That's what we like to call it. And as you will later see, it will be very rewarding that you have knowledge from the code base to begin with, so that you can do all these cool things. Now, for some details on this project, again, you're going to be learning to collaborate on code bases. Unity scripting is in C#, so you'll get experience in C# when it's applied to Unity. And another thing with this week specifically is that you will be able to document this code. And in addition to that, I would also like to say that a lot of experimentation from your end. So it's like the assignments that I'm giving you would just be playing Pong, could be one of them. And to actually keep this up, keep an eye on the project channel and the Discord. I will be giving updates to that, and there will likely be a midweek check-in for this week 1 to see how everyone's doing. And there's also likely going to be kind of reports that you might have to write on just how you're familiar with Codebase. So for anyone who hasn't already downloaded and set up Unity, I would like you to do so now. Has everyone downloaded it and set it up? Or can I get a show of hands?
We can also just work on that later, but we're gonna.
All right, so, but as everyone is kind of getting that set up, yeah, it is. So I'm going to kind of give an intro to reinforcement learning. So RL is a lot different than what you see with the regular AI that you see in the news. You probably see text to image, this to that, this to whatever, ChatGPT, all these things. Some of them might have an RL component to them, but they're not directly RL themselves. RL is like where you actually have something doing something. Whereas with other types of machine learning, you put something in and it spits something out. And that whatever it spits out is supposed to be the answer it gives you. RL is a lot different. You have I'm just gonna call it the AI. It's an agent. It's called an agent. And let's say when an agent is in an environment, which is kind of what RL is supposed to be. So it's when you have something in an environment that could be a game, that could be like literally walking in the world in real life or something on the moon. You have robotics trying to learn to walk. It's when you're in an environment and what you spit out, if the AI spits out, is not an answer to something. It's not the end goal. It is just another step towards that. So like if I wanted to get to that door, if I was an RL agent, what I would be doing is that I would take in the whole state of this room. So like I see the doors over there, and then my next step would be to take a step there. Whereas you have a regular, you have a regular like ChatGPT, you just ask it a question and then it just spits out words as an answer. It's different. Whereas you have with other types of machine learning, it has an immediate goal. With RL, its goal is to take a step forward towards a long-term goal. And let me give you kind of an example towards that. Sometimes there isn't always an answer to everything. Like there isn't just one way to go about things. If you were like, have any of you played fighting games, Street Fighter, whatever? If you are in some type of advanced state, like pummeling your opponent, there are multiple ways to just get their HP down to 0. You can start one type of combo from like medium, heavy, light, whatever, or a different type of combo. It could go all sorts of different ways. And it's just based on the actions you take, depending on the circumstances you are in. For example, you would want to probably block an attack that if you see an enemy throwing it at you. That's what an RL agent would do. Its goal is to win, but in order to do that, there are intermediate steps along the way. So RL is about doing. It's about doing, not as a task it is applied to. Now, the actual part of reinforcement learning about how it goes about that would be it just tries something, and then if it receives some type of positive reward signal, it is more likely to do it again. That's all you really need to know about that. It's more than that, but that's essentially the idea. Like, if it dies because it walked off a cliff, well, now it knows that it shouldn't walk off the cliff, hopefully. But this is often applied in terms of like robotics. You see that with like landing on the moon and stuff like that, and then robotics, game playing, lots of research. In fact, all these things that you've seen in the news years ago of like Google's AIs beating top chess players and everything, that was from reinforcement learning. It's not spitting out an answer of this is how the board should look like. It's saying this is the move I should make. to get closer to that goal. So in the context of Pong, that would be like, just say that the right paddle, like in your head or something, the right paddle is the RL agent or the AI essentially. And the right paddle, its way to win, it wants to win, right? By getting a higher score. So essentially it would be learning to move up and down to match the ball based on the ball's speed, velocity, where it is, and all that stuff. So does everyone have Unity set up? Jason?
Huh?
Yeah, I'm trying to move the slide. Okay, it works fine. Everyone has Unity set up, right? Or is there kind of any problems?
It takes a while.
Right, so, but while you're doing that, I would also recommend that you guys create a GitHub account. This is just as simple as just signing up, hitting sign up. Because you're going to want to download something from your repository later. The repository you can essentially think of as a Google Drive, but for code. The reason we don't just use Google Drive is because, well, a lot of reasons, but it's mainly for collaboration.
And mention that's your GitHub.
Yeah, and then either Hannah or Jason is going to throw up the GitHub link in the Discord if you want to access it through that avenue. But you can kind of just see, you should go to this project. Should I?
We can just give them a little bit of time to do that
Alright.
as well. So if you guys can just search up that into your browser and it should pop up the right project. At least.
I guess those of you who are a little confused, and you're not expected to kind of retain every single thing I say. I'm just kind of introducing these things to you, just so you know that like they exist. This is what we're working on. This is how we want to do things by the end. So I'm going to put a little bit of a visualization. So AI, action, reward, and then changes its behavior. Let's see like that. I don't know if the screen shows it well, but takes an action, then it gets feedback from its environment. Like if I tripped and fell, that would hurt, I think. Or if I fell off a cliff, that would hurt, and that would be negative feedback. And then I would know I probably shouldn't walk off a cliff. Then I would change my behavior because of that. That's the general idea for those of you who want like kind of a high level thing again. And what that will look like Pong-wise would be like the Pong paddle will probably be like losing every single game and then gradually learning how to, that it should move towards the ball as the ball is going in some direction and rebound it. So is everyone at the GitHub link and created the GitHub account? Okay, I think we are. So I'm going to move on to the next slide. If anyone has any questions, make sure to ask. One thing you might want to do in the GitHub is, well, since this is week 1, we care about being familiar about the codebase. Because if we're familiar with the codebase, we're essentially a god of this Pong world. And like, that's how it is in games. Like when you're developing a game and you know the codebase, you can make anything you want happen. You want a picture of SpongeBob flying across the screen, you can do that. So by being familiar with the codebase, we're going to be able to do really cool things with the RL agents. And I will dive more into the specifics of this, but just for now, just taking a little peek, trying to see a little bit what's going on, and I'll explain some of this stuff later. And another thing you want to do after you create your GitHub is to download the zip. Like you just click on where it says code and then download the zip file. If you haven't used GitHub before, that's what I like you to do. And then you can either extract it into like whatever directory you want, or go into the zip file, drag the stuff out into wherever you want. And then what you want to do afterwards is open it with Unity. Oops. by. So when you download Unity, you're just also gonna download Unity Hub. That's what it looks like. I already have the Pong RL project. So it's already there, but most likely for you guys, it's gonna be empty if you haven't already played around with Unity or used it in the past. So you want to hit new project. And I can go back to these slides if anyone wants, and then what we're gonna do is use 2D URP. I found that to be kind of the best way to do it. And what you might run into, since you've downloaded Unity today, is kind of a conflict in the versions. Don't worry, that's very common because big engines like Unity, they update, they have a whole team and office and everything. So they update like every week or something. So you guys have like a later version of Unity than I do. And there's not really gonna be a conflict in that regard because I got a stable version, which means it's long-term support. But it's just something to keep in mind, so don't get scared if you see something along those lines. But 2D URP is essentially just what Unity is going to use moving forward. So if you wanted to, like with this project, you want to show it to your mom or something, maybe years down the line, it's going to still be maintained by that URP. They're going to drop to the regular 2D sometime in the future. That's why I chose URP. And then this is what it's going to look like once you've opened up the project. And you want to open the folder, like when it says open project, I think it's import, but when you open up the project, it'll look something like this. If anyone has any problems with that, we are happy to help. So just let me know. We'll start. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Oh yeah, like I'm still like downloading like the and it looks like it's like taking very long. So like,
Yeah, that's why we started before the meeting. But
do you have like the slides?
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
the slides will be published after the meeting.
Yeah.
And if you want us to go back to any slide, like if you missed a link, let us know and we can double back maybe.
so I'm just gonna kind of wait for everyone. I don't want to go too fast for everyone to miss everything. Yeah. Okay, so I think I know some, that the UI which I'm so what is it testing? It's these. Oh yeah, I think that's why, yeah. Okay, so let me just jump on the line. This seems to be a glitch with Unity where I don't know why it does this with the 2D version, but we had nice feature this.
This one right here. This.
It's gonna not show the paddles when you play, yeah, it's gonna not show the paddles when you play it. So what you're gonna wanna do is, you all see it?
Yeah.
Like, I play it right now. It's gonna take a while. You would essentially want to like stretch, not this, but like the camera.
Oh, not that.
Was it the camera or the other thing that you have to stretch? What was it called?
I think group board, something that's it, group board.
Okay, so. Was it called that? It was part of the camera, right? What is this for? So was it showing how it works?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be good. Yeah, it's that the camera is not, it might not show things because you haven't stretched it out to fit it. I don't know why it doesn't do it by default, because I set it that way. And then I think font wise. I'm pretty sure the thing came with fonts too, so. But if you lack fonts and it doesn't show the scoreboard, let me know. This is still kind of a testing ground in that regard.
Your microphone,
Yeah,
top person.
yeah, I'm turning it off.
Actually, we'll save it up. It's really.
So. Just kind of give a tour of the like code base, just a little bit of it. I'll go into this more later, but this is how my code editor looks. You can kind of see the project structure, or let me just pull it up in Unity. So what you will likely have is within the assets folder of it, you will have content, game, source, this, you ignore this and ignore this. So content, game, and source are the main things that you want to pay attention to. So content is just all the like assets like audio, fonts, whatever. And for our purposes, I doubt we're gonna need to mess with that much, but it's nice to know that it exists. And then game is just more so on the actual data of the game. We'll be diving into that later, the later parts of the project, especially during the week 2. But what we're gonna look at during this week is the source, and then it's comprised of scripts and shaders. It's a little cool thing. Shaders are written in a different language than C#. You do not need to worry about that. We're gonna look at mainly scripts. This is actually where all the C# files are that kind of run the game. Make the game go how it is. And that's what is opened up in my editor. Now, before I go into the specific details of this code, let me just teach you how the Unity scripting works. So what happens is that you have some type of object in the, what we call scene, essentially just a screen. We have some type of object in the screen, like background is one of them that I have. Canvas, music player, event system. It could be like a box or square or circle or something. They're called game objects. And what is it? I made one called game manager. It's just an invisible one, but what I did is I attached this game manager script. This is game manager.cs. It doesn't have to be the same name as the actual game object, which is in the scene called game manager. And game manager is just an invisible thing. It could be like a circle or something, but just something that is within the scene is what they call it, or the game environment, whatever you want to call it. And if you put with these scripts, if you put public variables on the like outside of methods, if you just put them next to the class, like outside, they're called instance variables usually and job terminology, but if you put them here, you can actually modify them in the editor. Like if you go to score to win, I have it as a default value, which is actually 11 because 11 is the score to win in the original column, but it says 11 score to win, and you can mess around with it and change it. And I put player 1 name, player 2 name, in case we wanted to go down that route too. And you can literally just change it to whatever you want. And then what you want to do is save Control S, but I'm not doing that right now. And within this game manager, it just has void start, which is just called at the start. Like, let's say you hit play, this is what happens. This is what's called at the very start, just once. And what I do is I just create the players, set them as opponents to each other, and then I create the ball, and then I initialize the ball, and I serve the ball. And that's how the game starts. And then every frame, update is called. I update the player, players, and the ball. However, if you have something like to actually control the player, they'll have their own updates. Now, I'm not going to really dive into the specific architectures I used and patterns, design patterns I used, but the goal here, if you already have it pulled up, would be kind of to explore the code base, see what happens when you change a few things. I think that's how it should be at the start. And I will be releasing more documentation on this later on, because I know it doesn't stick in everyone's heads when something's said the first time. That's just a human trait. So one cool thing that you can do here is I have a bunch of constants that you can literally just straight up modify to kind of just change and break the game if you wanted to. Like one of them would be mute sounds. I haven't actually added any sound functionality to it because it just ends up being a little weird with how Unity does it. But with these ones in the cached variables, like score to win, are already set in the game manager, and then you just cache them. Now, all of this will be documented of the actual important portions. So this is essentially just starting up the game. But what I want you all to do is just kind of dip your toes into the water, see what happens if you change one thing or another, especially in this underscore pong.cs with some of these variables. You see all these random numbers with the floats. It says 0.05. That means, let me just demo if you change this. So it means that since the ball is a square, like both the length and the width will be equal, right? So 0.05f means that 5% of the vertical screen size will be what the length and width of the ball is. So you're working in terms of the screen size, like of the actual screen that you have. You're not working towards like random ass numbers like 4, 3, like what is that supposed to mean? So when you're working with screen size and percentages of the screen, you actually have something like a frame of mind to kind of work within that, and you're able to kind of set cool things from that. So I made it like 15% of the screen and see what happens with the ball. Now, so we need to compile. Unfortunately, you need these like this. And you need to play it. Look how big that thing is. 15% of the screen vertical screen size is the length and width. I have all these like little things here. And don't be overwhelmed when you see like a lot of this code, because you're not expected to kind of see everything. We're just looking more so at a high level, trying to understand what's kind of happening. And this is a very important skill to build, especially during our level 2 projects and during industry too. So I thought it was fitting to kind of build this. And if you all have any questions, I know it could be a little bit tough to start this up. Because there will be conflicts in the versions that need to be resolved. That is probably the biggest downside of using Unity or in this context. But So I'm gonna open this up, to let you guys kind of play around with the code and everything, or even if you have any questions, I'll be walking around. We will be keeping touch on Discord, and I will give out very specific assignments throughout the week. In regards to how you can actually submit the changes you've made and what you've noticed happened in a specific format. But the goal here is to get familiar and see what happens and have things set up, because setting up things is even just like downloading this Unity, setting it up from the GitHub and everything is a very vital step of the process. In fact, I know a person who was in 357 who had to drop it because he didn't have good experience setting up stuff like IDEs and everything. While this is not the same exact thing, it is a very similar kind of skill set. And if you think you're really good at it already,
That's good.
it's still good to get more practice, because you never know what's going to hit you. This guy was pretty experienced and still had to drop it. So the class moves way too fast for him because he wasn't done setting that up. It's all part of the process. So I'll be like walking around.
Okay. I can do this.
If anyone needs any help.
All right, raise your hands if you guys have installed Unity already. Raise your hands. Okay, raise your hands if you were able to open the zip file. Okay, and then raise your hand if you were able to open the zip file on Unity in a new project. Okay, looks like there's a lot of people that need help there. So
Let me check
what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna walk around. Also, just one last thing. For those who opened the project in Unity, were you able to get the project up and running? Okay, great. So my friends who have the project open, I'm gonna come over and open them for you, and then we can help everyone else. So if you have it open in Unity, raise your hand and I'll come over.
Okay, so I do have the fonts up.
Did you move the room? I only got it, but I actually thought it was. Yeah, I think they kind of go to open. Like that one is following. Yeah. Right.
Oh no, I do this time. Okay. I guess.
All right, who else has it open?
So installation conflict people, raise your hand.
But I'm installing it right now.
Okay, you got it?
I'm still installing that.
Okay. My bad. Unity is kind of a monster when it comes to space.
The installation takes forever too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Back.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I install that too.
Oh, yeah.
Downloading. How's it going? Oh man, yeah, no, they keep publishing new ones. Yeah, when you're installing Unity, you want to install. Yeah, we want, I'll just write it up on screen, there's 2022.3.7. That wants to install read that, like, when you have it all tested, without Google, and the next thing you might like. Yeah, so. Okay, so it seems like the common kind of theme with people getting issues with installing Unity is that there's an editor, the versions conflict, because when I made this, it was in a different version, and then time passed, Unity updated, and then different version, but that's okay. What you want to do is, I'm gonna write it down over here. It wants you to also install this one. 2022.7.f1.
You can't really see it on the,
Oops. Stand aside a little bit.
well, it's like cut off, just write it right under where you wrote week one,
Okay.
just write it right, yeah.
It's also 2022.3.7.
Oh, okay, oops. Okay, so 2022.3.7F1 is the version that we want to. So when you open up the Unity Hub, it's going to say that you also want to install that. So click that and it'll install that. It installs just a different version of the editor.
Share on their status.
Okay.
You can click the back button. Yeah.
Okay. Oh my God.
Oh, well, I guess we just have this standing.
Oh,
It's okay, there wasn't a whole lot of shit.
oh. Okay. My bad. Let's see. What? Okay. Okay. I'll just keep standing here. Like a prisoner with the ball on the chain. So for those of you who are able to, where exactly are we at? I guess.
It's going good.
So.
I'm gonna. Can I do some announcements or whatever?
Yeah.
But if you want, it's
Alrighty. Oh, more people. Oh, God. Where's my? How do I admit people? Admit people.
It's show.
It would show. I mean, it's fine so far. We have some of them.
Well, there's no one else that's like.
I saw a thing and then I disabled the waiting room. I don't know if that will kick them out. It's like in the name of the waiting room.
No, it doesn't mean it.
Yeah. But now they're gone. Okay. All right. All right. Is this working? Is this working now? Yeah. Yes, it should be. Fully. So we have 10 minutes left. So I think a good portion of you guys were able to download Unity in time, and then a good portion of you are also able to get the game up and running. If you were not, there's plenty of time during this week. We're gonna have more project meetings on this topic. Our next one's going to be covering like how to start building the reinforcement learning aspect that will play it for you. But for the time being, we are just gonna go over some general announcements. Do you want to do this? Anyways, just a reminder to join our Discord if you haven't already. We'll be posting all the meetings and all the announcements, XYZ, all that jazz. And please introduce yourself and change your usernames to your actual name.
Okay, is this one? Hello, testing, okay. So we also have our applications open for our media team, so if you're interested in helping us with our YouTube channel, our social media advertisements, it is due October 15th, which is next Sunday, so make sure you get those in. Thank you to everyone who has already applied, and we are super excited about this and seeing what you guys are able to contribute to our club. Another way to get involved that I want to introduce to you guys is our project committee. So if you're interested in helping us put on these project meetings, helping us set up these projects, we had a lot of interest this year and we only have one project lead, so we kind of want to get some more people to kind of help them out. So if you have technical experience and you want to contribute to the club, this is a really great way to get involved. So we have applications out now. They are due October 22nd, which is not next Sunday, but the Sunday after.
2 weekends.
2 weekends. Right after you apply, we will invite you to do like a 15-minute chat. It's not going to be like anything super formal. We just want to get to know you and your skills. So just wanted to let you guys know about that. And if you have any more questions about it, you can come up to me or Amir afterwards, and we would be more than happy to give you some more information on this committee. But again, highly recommend if you have technical experience, please apply. We want you to come and help us out. Do you have anything?
Yeah, I do. Oh, he's one. So I got an example of how this could help. Basically what happened here is the version conflicts. I expected this. It's important to work through this. However, we did do a test of this and work through it already, but that was like a few weeks ago. From then to now, Unity has updated again, and that's kind of where it happens. And we didn't have enough people on board at the time who were available, because I did want to do a quick run through last night or yesterday, and we didn't really have enough people who were available to kind of test that out in case like another update happened. But that's completely fine. And if you are in the Unity, one thing I also now you have to do, I think, we didn't have to do this before, but now you have to, is you go into the game data scenario or the scenario folder that's inside there in the scenes, and then you open up double click the scene and it'll ask you if you want to import this text thing, this text library, and just say yes to that, and everything will work. Tested it with Sharon. You can ask her, she's also an officer. If you have trouble with that. And I guess just while we're on the thing right now, it's important that you're just swimming in the water, getting your experience this way. Just being in the wild in this kind of regard, being vulnerable and exposed to these kinds of weaknesses is what helps you grow. Either with your technical skills, knowledge, experience, or even as a person. This is the road to those bigger level 2 projects that fit our ambition.
Yeah.
All right, so we are encroaching on our last 5 minutes, so I just wanted to give you guys some time to fill out our feedback form. So scan the QR code or go to tinyurl.com/CSAI project 1 and give us your feedback. We really appreciate it. So I'm gonna give you guys some time to do that. Go for it.
That will be it.
And once you do that, you're free to leave. Thank you guys so much for coming.
I will give out kind of more formalized assignments on the Discord, on the project announcements, in a specific way that you were able to submit a lot of these things to get more familiar with the code. And for those of you who are a little bit more experienced, I'll give some assignments to actually add functionality to the Pong. That will, in turn, in the process of doing so, you will have a better understanding of how this code base works. And I'll include some baseline documentation in that regard. Oh, forgot to turn this on. All right, so. But it's on.
I'm gonna say.
All right.
Alrighty. Also, for one lucky winner, I have a Mr. Beast Feastable right here that's a little bit melted. But I don't know if anyone's interested, but if you are, just raise your hand. I'm thinking of a number 1 through 30, okay? Let me just think of a number. Ooh, got the number. Okay, let's do it. Yeah.
23.
No, or well, I'll tell you, like whoever's closest, I guess. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Okay. Okay. Anyone else? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yep, in the back. 20, okay, yep. 13, okay. Yep. 29, okay. So that's a good guess. That's something. Any other guesses before this is going once? The free melted chocolate bar going twice. It's cooled down a little bit for the party again. Going one more time. Okay. Did someone say 18? Did someone say 16? No, I think it was the 20th. Who was 20? All right, you, my friend, come meet me afterwards. You win
So these nuts flavors.
the D's Nuts Feastable. 7-Eleven. All right, see you guys tomorrow for our general meeting. We're heading on out.
Just one last word. I will give, after this meeting, I'm gonna send out a formalized kind of assignment process to submit what you have explored and all that stuff.
Oh my god, I was muted.
Right now, just keep in mind, this is a level 1 project. The focus is to build those foundational skills so that we can apply them in those level 2 projects. So. That in mind.
You had enough? I'll talk about that later. Or hang around. I'll talk to you like on the way. Yeah. Just hang out. Find one. All right, my lovely friends on our Zoom. This is the end. Aaron, you're a real one for being here. I don't know if you want to say hi before I end the meeting, but thank you guys for all coming. I'm just gonna end the meeting right